Coach Masilo Modubi, the
My,
legend himself. Good evening.
you know, good evening. You are the big legend. You know I call you the big legend.
Yeah, you always tease me and call me a big legend, but I think you are the legend, and you are the man of the moment. Are they calling you Michael in Belgium?
Yes, Michael. Maybe I'm the man of the moment, but not the big legend.
I know that the name Michael is an angelic name, a
Yes,
name that was given to an archangel of God. So I'm sure in your family you are that big.
I hope so. I hope so. You should ask
Hmm.
them. You should ask them about it. But
Yeah.
uh, it's fine. Michael mostly is used here in Belgium, but in South Africa,
Mm.
most know Masilo. So
Mm.
mm,
Um, Born and bred in Polokwane. Am I
yes,
correct? Ah.
yes,
In the 90s, we used to call it Polokwane Petersburg. So how was
yeah.
it like for you growing up there?
We yeah. I think people my age who grew up in the 1985s,
Mm,
they we grew up just after the apartheid, so
mm,
we were the lucky generation, I guess,
mm,
that came through with when Mandela was released. And I remember in 1995 where I went to a multiracial school, and it was
mm,
back then was a big thing, so
mm,
you had the opportunity to maybe go to school in town, not in the
mm,
location that
mm,
you grew
mm,
up in. So
mm,
we grew up that during that era, but we didn't feel the animosity between the whites and blacks as much as maybe our parents and our grandparents as well. You know.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
And obviously coming from a former model school, I'm sure ekas babathi ayikhukhunathi le iyathenga ayishaya ngesilungu
Uh,
ayisakhuluma isipedi.
but those were multiracial schools that were actually at back then they start them, but there were most black people than white people.
Mm,
And
mm, mm,
we were most. Yeah, I went to Northern Academy, and at that time, I can't really say we had white people, but
mm,
the theory of being able to move from the gas going to school with the bus to town every day,
mm, mm,
for us was something new, you know. And
mm, mm,
normally we used to go to town to buy things end of the
mm,
month, you know, and that theory became a good thing for us to say, hey, but I'm going to school in town, but
mm,
actually getting anything like I feel like the education was more or less the same, I guess, with
mm,
with
mm.
it's just that you get an opportunity to be taught by white people. That's all. Then everything is more English.
Mm. Mara lento yediski ke it's an guy cause I know that in model C school it's all about swimming, rugby, cricket, but
But
then there's Michael uh, yena nje ubatla upapala bolo nje fela and he doesn't care about all this kind of stuff. How
no,
did it
but
come about for you?
I was very active at that time. I was a very active young man. I was
Mm,
very quiet but very active. I had very interest in a lot of things, basketball, cricket at that time. But cricket and
mm,
basketball were not yet introduced when I went to that multiracial school. So it was more like football. We played at the gas when I was home. You know,
mm,
bare feet, and we would play, and I liked it, and I thought I was good at that time. And
mm, mm,
but then me moving to a multiracial school, then we got introduced to cricket as well. But when it was break at the school, we would play with football. We'll play soccer, and I would enjoy it. And
mm,
I was lucky enough to be recognized by most people to say, but hey, when I carry, hey, you know how to play.
mm,
So
mm,
it became a battle where when cricket was introduced, you know,
mm,
because
mm,
I was also good at it. and
You wicket keep.
I was all round. I could bowl.
Mm,
I
mm,
could bat as well. So
mm,
I was just an all rounder in cricket. So
mm,
and it became big at the school, and I became one of the most important guys. So I had
mm,
a situation where I had to choose.
mm,
When I go home, because I remember there was also a development structure also just started at the cricket club. Most people would understand if they are from Maikasi, with
mm,
the late McCoy. He started like a Simba development thing, and
mm,
because now I was at the multiracial school, I wanted to play more cricket than play football. So the guys couldn't understand. Funny
mm,
enough, we used to we used to train just next door to each other. So if I didn't go
mm,
for soccer or football,
mm,
they would see me with
mm,
it, and they wouldn't. The coach was never happy. Say, "Hey, get back into it.
mm,
Ilala ball ya, ilala." You know.
mm,
So
mm, mm,
I'll be playing, but listening to the comments at the back, and yeah. But it was those period then. So that's how I was introduced to sports, and I was very active. I was very inquisitive in everything. I wanted
mm,
to try new things always. So
mm. Someone told me that you were called to Zain.
yes, funny enough,
Mm.
you know,
From
uh,
Zain Musa.
yes, from Zayn Musa, but I think it was more because of my hair. You know, uh,
Oh, okay.
I have this curly hair, and most people know
Uh,
Miriri. So I had this
mm,
afro, and normally my afro when it's summer, it changes color. It
mm,
becomes a little bit yellow. Looks like it's uh, blonde also. So
mm, mm, mm.
remember Zayn used to have the afro,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
Y-
think it comes from the. I don't know if the playing style was a little bit the same. I doubt, but it was.
I was not there, but I doubt, I doubt.
Yeah, but that's why I say. But at that time, when you are young, everybody
Mm,
thinks it's Maradona, or even when you were
yeah.
nobody liked to call himself Neil Tovey. You know, Uh, you know, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
But when you push the ball going
Mm,
on front. You say,
mm,
but maybe the kids this nowadays. Remember our
mm.
era at that time, being a defender was not a popular thing. You know,
Yeah, ne.
but now
Mm,
you have Sergio Ramos and those other guys. Now
mm,
the young boys see themselves as them as well. So I mean,
mm.
that's how you see how football has changed as a whole.
So during those days, which team did you support?
It's honestly Sundowns.
Ah, ah.
Not by LM, yeah, because I know when yeah,
Yeah, die hard, die hard.
you know,
I'm not compromising, and I'll never deny my team shame.
yeah. Or you are the new era when people went to Sundowns. But me,
Like,
I'm the Iwi Kambule, the long term.
you and I share a lot in common. That is why we like each other a lot. Because when I first saw Zain Musa in 1989, 1990, that's
Yeah,
when I fell in love with Sundowns. I started by following him.
yeah,
Then I saw about Iwi, I saw about Waya Chirwali. I started seeing Ulakim Leaf because Ulakim Leaf is from right here, Kwamashu.
uh-huh,
So my dad will always talk about Ulakim Leaf. You'll tell me about ukuthi uzohamba yombona, and I was like, no, but there's a Sundowns player that lives right next door. Then I became a Sundowns fan, just
yes.
like that. And I understand now lento kaZane ukuthi it was not just nje the hair, but also you had love for the
But
team.
for me, where it comes from, I remember because I know my father was more like a chief support,
Mm, mm,
and I used to watch games with my father most of the time when I was young. But then,
mm,
because he played football also way back. But then
mm,
during that time, I had my best friend whose name is Moraka. We're still best friends as well, and
mm,
I used to go to his house. But the father was
mm,
more a Sundown. They were more passionate about Sundowns. When
mm,
they said Brazilians and I loved Brazil at that time. But I was
mm,
confused. I was battling between because my father liked Chiefs, and when I was with my father, I felt like I'm a Chiefs supporter. But when I
mm,
went there, and they were supporting Sundowns, but I fell in love with the how like Zayn used to play and how Sundowns,
Mm,
Sundowns, it feels like that era, everything just continued because they
mm,
used to
mm,
like play around the ball. That's why they called the Brazilians, and
mm,
also the color, it had to make with the color
yeah.
as well. So because I liked the ball a lot, and I felt like they were playing the nicest football then,
Mm,
and
mm,
I think that's when everything shifted, and then gradually became, because we were every time close when weekends, because my father and I, our parents at that time, they will have some time with you one weekend,
mm,
yeah, but they come in 3 weekends, with their
mm,
friends somewhere watching the game.
mm,
So
mm,
I was
mm,
all at my friend's place where I would watch Sundowns play most of the time, and because I liked the family as well, because
mm,
he's my best friend, and I liked the family, and we would cheer every time for Sundowns. But then I loved
mm.
also the football they played that time.
School of Excellence, Sikutholaphi. Where do these guys find you?
You know, uh, you remember I told you about the cricket and
Mm,
the, the football thing. The
yeah.
guy, boy, the guy who was actually the coach that time used to
Mm,
believe so much in me. He never gave up on me, even when I
mm,
chose. Remember,
mm,
I decided to say, I don't play football anymore. I'm focusing on
mm,
cricket. But remember,
mm,
at that time, I was probably one of the first black guys to represent my province in cricket.
mm,
We went and I became. I think I was player of the tournament in one player of the day in one of those
mm,
tournaments.
mm,
And
mm,
we were actually two black guys, or two black guys. We were there, for
mm,
those tournaments,
mm.
and I felt like I could be. I think if I continued, I could have been maybe Makayantini then.
Makayantini, yeah.
Yeah, but then I remember, I can't forget this story. We were just about to leave. We were about to leave. We were going to the place called Hannesbeck, I think, to play a cricket game, and the car came. I saw that was my mother's car. Came,
Mm,
and she said to me, I was just about to leave for the game. She says, "Hey,
mm,
come. There's trials
mm,
for School of Excellence. McCoy told me to tell you that you have to come." I said, "No, but
mm,
I don't play." He said, "But it's the School of Excellence. You remember you had dreams to go there?" I said, "Yeah,
mm,
but now I'm focused more on playing cricket."
mm,
But my mom insisted at that time. Said, "You have to." Remember,
mm,
I remember when there were, School of Excellence, they used to curtain raise. If you remember curtain raising, the
mm.
young boys curtain raise
Yeah,
for.
The Chappies Little League days, yeah.
Yes,
Mm,
so
mm,
they used to get and for Chiefs and Pirates then. That was also a dream
mm,
of mine. So
mm,
that's why I love the School of Excellence that time. But my thought actually changed just because now I was seeing more cricket than football in my eyes. But my
mm,
mom at that day insisted and said, "Hey, bruh, you're going with me," and didn't take
mm,
anything.
mm,
I had to actually leave my stuff, and then because I didn't have my soccer boots, but she said, "I got your soccer boots in the car. Don't worry."
mm.
You know, so
You had the same story na no Tusopala, because naye everywhere we went, umama akhe beka always there.
yes,
Ukuthi
yes.
yendoda.
Honestly, I don't
Mm,
think I would have actually be here where I am
mm,
today. Wasn't
mm,
for because
mm,
I would go for trials. I represented my province a lot of time in soccer and cricket at the same time, but I was more
mm,
an introvert. She would leave me at the trials, and she will come back. I'll still be at the same place. Yeah,
Oh,
and
you
she
were
will
that
go.
disciplined.
Yeah, but I will be at the same place. This was over the top.
Mm,
You
mm,
have to be
mm,
disciplined, but you had to go for trials. you
mm,
know.
mm,
But I
mm,
was, I would never. She will come maybe 30 minutes before trial was, and it says, "Hey, and what did they say?" I said, "I never went to trial. I just stood here." And then she would
mm,
say, "Okay, let's go." And then she will speak with people, give him a chance because he was here the whole day, but he never said anything. I will go in the first 15, 10 minutes. Hey, yeah, fun. You know,
mm,
well, they
mm,
will take me. That's how I but I was almost like that everywhere I go. I was so more like an introvert, like I wouldn't say anything. I'm here for trials because other people
Mm,
came because they played for other teams, but I was more at
mm,
this boarding school most a lot. But when there were
mm,
trials, I would be alone, and then I
mm,
had to raise my hand. I'm here also to trial, and then they put me with another team to go.
mm, mm, mm.
So
Now, take me your first day at School of Excellence. You are walking through those gates. Uh, who welcomes you? Who's your roommates? And the names that you remember from those days.
I'll tell you, because at that time, the first time when I got there, I remember there was this guy called Sijo Mapenza. He used to also play for Ajax Cape Town as well.
Mm,
We called him Sijo. He was so active, he was so friendly, and he would
mm,
actually question everyone, about everything. Where are you from?
mm, mm,
Hey, we're Limpopo. And immediately when he knows, this one is from Limpopo, then he says,
mm,
hey, who's? I will introduce you to someone else, But I remember
mm,
it was him and Jan Masal, this other guy also was at the school. They were both
mm,
of them. They used to be together most of the time. And they introduced
mm.
me uh, to one guy called Joseph Mtombe. I don't know, you have to know him.
I know Joseph Nsombeni from
Yeah,
Sundowns. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm,
because he's from Limpopo,
mm, mm, mm,
and from there, that's how we actually gel, and then you create a little bit of a group of Limpopians, and the ones from
mm,
then
mm,
it starts there, but it was something different in a sense that I was at the school where they were with girls most of the time, and I was at a
mm,
period in life where I was starting to get to know other people like girls. I mean, and
mm,
at that time,
mm,
change from that dimension to being with just boys, then, and it actually cooled me down,
mm,
cooled
mm,
me down, and I remember our first meeting we had at the school. I won't forget that. It
mm,
was with them. They spoke about discipline and how everything has to be done at the school. And then I realized, it's like, wow, those boys I've seen before on the TV, curtain raising for other teams and stuff,
mm,
was not just you come here, you just play with the ball. And I think it has to do
mm,
with and the talent, it's more
mm,
the hard work they put in. And remember
mm,
at that time on TV when they played, I remember Stephen Binar was there, and I think Sean Potgieter, and also
mm,
few other names, who Skakes. I don't know if you know Skakes. Masegela also used to be in
mm,
the for under 23s back then, and
mm.
those,
I remember him.
yes, he was very skillful, and those
Yeah.
were, those were,
Wahlala Blondie la
yeah,
ngithi.
yeah,
I remember him.
guys was very skillful, but I
Mm,
was amazed that
mm,
I thought I was good
mm,
coming from Limpopo. I thought in my area, but I can
mm,
stand my ground. I came there,
mm,
there were 79 other kids.
mm.
I remember,
So like ubuka these other kids are like, "Hayi man, register mina. I don't belong here." Oh.
oh, I actually thought of going back home. I swear, I, 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 my first, I'm not even gonna lie. My first six months there was
Mm,
hectic. Hectic was
mm,
mentally, and like I could have called my mom and said, "Hey," but I knew because my mom just went through a divorce, and she was
mm,
a lot in a multiracial school, and for her was more like a breather, not to pay another school fee. My
I understand.
just went from a divorce, and now you're thinking, "Ish," and she was so excited that now I don't have to do anything. You know,
Mm,
they,
mm,
they give you Adidas clothes. I don't have
mm,
to pay you, and you give you everything. So was more like a breather. But you go through that tough time where you feel like, "Ish, but I need to tell my mom that I want to come home."
I-
But but I've seen her cry through those tribulations,
mm,
like through those
mm,
tough times at that time.
mm,
And because we are very close. So I didn't like it. So just said, hey, I had to suck it up and just see where this thing takes me, But the most thing that was actually it was just the talent, I think. I was just by the talent. I tell you, we were 70, we were 80. Probably I thought I was 78. Maybe I could point to that I thought, maybe this one.
I know
I,
ukhombo
I yeah, these two, these ones I. But then I remember, I think I was trying too hard as well at training because I felt like everything was falling apart. I felt like I was not doing enough. But I remember Coach James came to me and said, you know what you're doing now is trying to play other people's game. You're not playing your game. You are a good passer of the ball. You can read the game. Don't run with the ball. Keep it simple. If you keep it simple, and remember back then, that's what I said, back then those things were not popular. Playing simple.
True.
If you want to be recognized in South Africa, or because I remember we came with a guy called Tsetse Fly, was just small. Will dribble you the whole day. We came with the same and the first games, because they give you the first day, they give you free to the small-sided games, and the old guys who are at the school sit and look who's everybody was Tsetse Fly. Hey, they call those who ones who are, but they never call you. And when you're used to being called, you go, and then you start to feel like, what, but it's just the mental game. But the conversation I remember I had with Coach James, he said, just keep it simple. You're a good pass of the ball. When you run the ball and when you decide to pass the ball, but when you run the ball, because you're not that skillful,
Yeah.
Then
he helped you. He helped you because then there was a phone call. I don't know whether it was a phone call or there was a tour or there was a visitation. You are going to explain it. 2003. Tell me what happened.
2003.
Fulham.
Yes.
Not London. Then there's a club called Chelsea. They are looking for this boy from Limpopo.
Yeah, like I said, when the transition from me being there's also a transition from me being number 78 or 77 at this excellence, the hard work that had to come. Like I made a big transformation in a year. Because I worked hard and I wanted to be also one of those guys at the school who were, and then the transformation came. Remember, at the School of Excellence at that time, they used to have international tournaments, but international tournaments, and the school have to select kind of players who have to also go to those tournaments. I remember we went to Ireland and we played against Manchester United. We played against also other teams. And then we had a chance also to go to Crystal Palace to play against Crystal Palace as well. But they were all type of scouts. So I remember also, if I'm not mistaken, but at the school, I'll tell you something about this. At the school was something that's very fascinating about the school. So once we go, we play against Chiefs Pirates in the weekends, or we have a tournament somewhere for a week. But Mondays, we used to rush to the reception. We go to the reception because the facts will come in. When the facts come in, we say, we know they want someone.
Yeah.
They want someone. But then what happens is then the coach will have a meeting that day, maybe around after lunch or so. But I remember Coach Sam, we used to have the facts. And there was the TV room was the other end, and the school was at the other end. So normally we'll have meetings at this TV room. So Coach Sam would move in between those paths, holding that paper. I see it, my daughter. And everybody,
That's Coach Sembat, isn't it?
yeah, Coach Sam, but I think he's at Sundown.
Yeah.
And at that time, waving this like this, and everybody gets so excited because we know these are good news. We don't know for who,
Mm.
but
Mm. Mm. Mm.
we went to that island tournament, and when we came back, then the wave came in with this, and we all
Mm.
had to rush. So we all wondering what's going to happen now, because we went to an international tournament, and that's
Mm.
when them announced that there were four guys. I remember. I think Dane Clyde was wanted by Everton, Boy also by
Mm.
Everton, Chelsea, and me and Jeffrey Nduka were wanted by Everton, Manchester, Chelsea,
Mm.
and Crystal Palace. But
Mm.
Boy, because he's been to Manchester before, you know.
Mm. Mm.
So I think because he went for trials, and then they didn't recognize him the second time. So that's how
Mm.
it all happened. So we had an opportunity actually to choose,
Mm.
to choose between those teams. I don't know what happened
Mm.
to Dane's deals as well. But then Dane at
Mm.
that time, I think he had also offers from Supersport. Because remember, we
Mm.
used to play so many friendly games with Sundowns, and I could have
Mm.
actually gone to Sundowns as well. Because this is, and I'm not gonna say this in any disrespectful way, you know.
Mm. Mm.
Uh, we had a period like the School of Excellence actually, when it's towards when you do grade 12, they try to give the
Mm.
guys exposure so that they can actually get a team before they leave the school. If they leave the school,
Mm.
they have a contract. But then
Mm.
I remember at that time the school organized us to go play with Sundowns most of the time. You know,
Mm.
that
Mm.
Jimmy was still there. So the dream team was the last team that with all the guys, and then they will mix us with younger boys like us then, and we'll
Mm.
play
Mm.
more friendly games with Sundowns. So when we played friendly games with Sundowns, uh, I remember we used to go like twice play against Sundowns. But then there came a period where Ted said, I actually want the five players to come train with us.
Mm.
I think it was me,
Mm.
Sipho Nunez, Modava, Joseph Mtombeni, I think
Mm.
Buda as well. We were five. And when
Mm.
we went there, we used to train but for me, it was more like an exposure, because I was still young at that time. Coach Sam
Mm.
said, okay, go, you will learn. But it so happens that Sundowns at that time went through injuries in the midfield,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
And I remember Fex came in, and then Ted was saying, I actually need him as a midfielder. But then
Mm.
the school for me, was more like an exposure. But Sundowns, remember, was my team.
Mm.
Oh, and I wanted to,
It dream come true, le.
yeah,
Mm.
and remember the school calling my mom, and my mom said, hey, they want you. But the school feel like it's not the right time for you to,
Mm. Mm.
like Coach Sam say, and then Coach Sam will call me to office and explain to him, Masilo, be careful, these things. I couldn't understand them, because this is a dream,
Mm.
you know. And
Mm.
somehow he convinced me. He said, your time will come. Continue working hard, but this is not the right time for you to go there.
Do you think Mighty, this is not the right time? Was he referring to is Sundowns being a squad that was dominated by senior players, or was he looking at you saying, hey, maybe you are not yet ready for that pressure of playing for a team like Sundowns?
Honestly, we had this conversation, I think a year or 2 years back, and I remember he said it also vividly when we were
Mm. Mm.
together back then. He says, your
Mm.
style of play.
Mm.
Remember, my style of play was not popular at that time. I was
Mm.
more
Mm.
like the simple guy, the busket, the simple,
Mm.
that others play, and then you cover them.
Mm.
And
Mm.
he said to me, if you're patient enough, I think the right deal will come. Where I think in his head was more like Europe, maybe. But if it
Mm.
doesn't happen, maybe Cape Town Ajax, you know.
Mm.
But
Mm.
or the system was more simple football
Mm. Mm. Mm.
structured, and so that time they had to leave me behind, and that's why I say it's not to say that Sipo Nunez was not a good player. He was,
Mm.
but then they gave Sipo Nunez the opportunity, because Sipo Nunez, when he was at the school at that time, was more like a right
Mm.
back,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
But they
Mm.
they gave, I think Coach Sam said, I think Sipo Nunez can play in that position.
Mm.
You
But
know,
be honest. Be honest. How did you feel at the time?
no, it was challenging. Remember, he
Mm.
signed the deal with Sundowns, but he was still staying at the school. And funny
Mm.
enough, this game I can't forget it. They played
Mm.
against Black Leopards at Loftus, and he scored.
Mm.
That's when his career took off.
Mm. Mm.
But at the same time, you were sitting there like, wow, this could have been me.
This could have been me. Yeah.
You
Mm.
thinking, but that's why I'm
Mm.
not taking out anything away from Sipho Nunes. But like I said,
Mm.
this is my story, and I'm sticking to
Mm.
it. Those who were there would
Mm.
actually, like Coach Sam will actually confirm those people. But I'm not taking anything away. Sipho Nunes was a one.
Mm.
I'm sure he was still gonna get a contract somewhere else if I have
Mm.
taken that opportunity. you know.
Mm. Mm.
But like I
Mm.
said, this is my story. I'm sticking to it. You
and
know.
then and then and then the facts came. You had
Yes.
to make a decision. Everton, Chelsea, Crystal Palace. You make a decision. Why Chelsea?
Remember, I felt like Chelsea were the ones who made the first steps. I think they had that we
Mm.
also other opportunities as well. So they rushed to make the first step and say, "Hey, can you come?" Because I remember
Mm.
it was right about November. They said, "Hey, can you come spend some 2 weeks with us in at Chelsea?" And
Mm.
remember, if this at this time you're looking at opportunities meaning you can wait for Manchester. Well, Manchester at that time was a big team, which I would have
Mm.
loved to go, but you're looking at, but who's making the moves at this point? And the school said,
Mm.
look, we can't wait for other ones. We take what we can that is coming first at this moment. If you go there, you have
Mm.
trials. But for us, it was not more like trials. It was more like have the feel of.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think they have
Mm.
already made that decision because they knew they had competition with other teams. So
Mm.
they gave us the feel that we like you. So come see where
Mm.
you will train. Come,
An induction type of feeling.
yes, and when
Mm. Mm.
we were there, we're like, wow. And
Mm.
we knew the decision was made that time. When
Mm.
they were so impressed, and because remember what most people don't know, the School of Excellence gives you so much exposure in trainings that
Mm.
honestly I feel like I've never learned anything new since I left the school
Mm.
because the coaches there were more advanced. They had opportunities to go to
Mm.
Brazil,
Mm.
to go to Europe, and if you could look at our training sessions, like when I was coached by Coach Mandla, when I was coached by Coach
Mm.
James, when I was coached by Coach Sam or Coach Dance or Johnson, that like
Mm.
Kevin, but then you feel like what we see now, what the world is getting more exposure to. Some of us have done those things when we were like
Mm.
probably 10 years back, you know.
Mm.
But it's from the school. We adjustment on the field was nothing for us because we
Mm.
had those things at the school. We had every equipment you can think of at that time.
Mm.
So for us was just to adjust with the weather and stuff like that. But football was just the same. So we went to Chelsea,
Mm.
and coming back, we had the taste and the feel of the money a little bit because they gave us allowance. You know
How much? How much?
how much? I remember when I came back home. I probably came home with probably 10,000 or something rents, but it was just
Mm.
allowance.
Mm.
If I'm
Mm.
mistaken, but remember, we we are from the School of Excellence. We were not getting paid, and
Mm. Mm.
money,
So suddenly, so we are not 10,000, and you feel like a boss.
hey, we come back there, but it was something new. I remember because I knew the struggle at home as well.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Everything. I think I say a lot of time. For me, I'm not the time. If I could have played football, even not being known was not a problem. You know,
Mm.
I did it actually because I love the game. But I remember I also had this thing at the back of my mind, actually helping my family. Because I
Mm. Mm.
what
Mm.
was going through at that time. So my
Mm.
focus more enjoying the game, not
Mm.
worried about being popular, but
Mm.
being able to help my family be in a better position, because I saw my mom and my grandmother how they worked hard. We were probably 7 at home. We were 7 at home because my grandmother adopted my sister Masilo, who was dead then, and then gave birth also to Mpo, and then we were now a big family. So, but those two ladies, I mean, my mom and my grandmother, they tried to actually put everything together, especially after the divorce. So that money that I came back with, I actually didn't even taste it. I think I was so proud, to be able to help at that time, and I gave it all. So and but then fast forward, then Chelsea decided to sign us. But at that time, I was doing grade 12. No, the next year I was doing grade 12 because we went during December period. So when we went during, but then I was on my last year doing my grade 12. So this for me was a challenge because my mother she's a teacher, so she wanted me to finish my. But then Chelsea
Your
said,
metric, yeah.
yeah, but Chelsea said, look, we're not gonna wait for him to finish. We want him now. So he can start with the team, and it stalled a little bit. I think it took almost 4 months because I don't know what was going on. But then our parents were actually invited to come to the school to have a discussion with the people from Chelsea. But I know Boy's side and Jeffrey's side where the decision was made easy because I was doing grade 12, and I think Jeffrey was doing grade 11, and Boy grade 10, if I'm not mistaken. So they had like another 2 more years, but I had like probably 9 months or 6 months before I could finish my matric. So, yeah.
No, now that you've mentioned Boy, not Jeffrey, the three of you, I mean, will read newspapers, especially Abu Sokala Duma, will always check lapha with international column ukuthi how you guys are doing and how you're playing. And of the three guys, you, Jeffrey, and Boy, the two guys couldn't stay longer in Europe. But you stayed in Europe for the longest time. Why is it difficult for South African players to stay in Europe? Look at Percy as an example as well.
No, but I cannot speak for someone else, but I can only speak for myself. I think it has to come with you. What are your objectives in your mind? What do you want from playing in Europe? I've always admired people in Fortune at that time. People who played in Europe but stayed in Europe. So our dreams are different. Somebody probably like to play in Europe but wants to go back at home and probably finish it at Sundowns or at Pirates. But my objective was always, I wanted to be more like the guys who were in Europe and stay in Europe. Like also most importantly, like for me, family is a big factor. If I've been to Europe for so long, and I can, not to say I'm playing down on my African, but I'm more African than most people would think. But I feel like the opportunities here for my family were better than the opportunities were in South Africa at the moment. I'm not saying things might not change, but I look at it. But that's why I say, you're asking me about other people's decision. I think it's more personal than any other thing. I can sit here and explain how I'm disappointed when Jali went back. I saw Jali play. I would think if Jali could have stayed, he could have easily been in Dortmund when we speak today. Because was starting to be more recognized. That's one thing that I feel that hurts me most. If there's one player who was here in Belgium that I felt like could even do more. But that's why I say those are people's personal decisions. But I like him as I like him as a player. I've always admired him from a distance, even when he was here in Belgium, when I watched his games. Maybe he struggled the first few months, but after he took off, like, and
he was the talk of the town.
Yeah, like I remember having a conversation with somebody else. I said, if he continues this way another 6 months, I swear, it's either he's going to do it
Mm,
and then he goes to Arsenal or goes to Premier League. The guy,
mm,
the talent he has, you know, I played most similar position as him, but he,
mm,
he had also more attribute, more energy probably than me, I
mm,
think.
mm,
You
mm.
know,
Because you did not watch much of you do not watch much of PSL football. Let me tell you now.
yes.
When Andy Letal is not there in that Sundowns team,
Hmm.
there's always war on social media because Sundowns fans believe that whenever Coach Rulani and Coach Mangoba pen down the starting lineup, Andy Letal should be first in midfield.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because I've seen him
Mm,
working out here in Belgium, and
mm,
I'm a little bit more disappointed that he's not even considered in the national team. And that's why I say
mm,
I can only speak from what I know of his
mm,
previous
mm,
performance. I can't speak for now because you
mm,
guys see him more than me.
mm,
But
mm,
I think if Jali is on top,
mm.
he can actually carry the national team to the
I can assure you now, Andy Letal is on top.
okay.
How is not in the national team is the politics. I don't know that I cannot even stand in a court of law and try to explain. But I can tell you now, Andy Jali is the best midfielder we have in South Africa in his position, no doubt, and he has no peers.
But that's why I say if we're talking about what I've seen back then when he was here,
Mm, mm,
I've never seen as much as Percy Tau, which I love his game, but I've
mm,
never been here at Belgium when I see players come and I feel like this one can really make it big, and that was the
mm.
one he needed to stay just one more season, and he was off. He was off.
How was life at Westerlo?
Remember, we signed them with Chelsea, and then because I don't want us to be too long, eh? Otherwise,
Mm.
you know,
No, don't worry, don't worry.
no, we signed with Chelsea, then we moved. They loaned us to Westerlo, which was something new
Mm,
for us as well when we came to Belgium, and we settled in very well. Funny enough, because we started
mm,
playing, and but then remember, you we're talking about kids here. We came here when we were
mm,
you know, in
mm,
16, 17, we're here alone. We're getting our first freedom. Remember, we were from School of Excellence, and
mm,
School of Excellence was more like a prison, meaning like you, you,
mm,
you don't go out without the gate pass. You only go
mm,
out when you go home. You don't
mm,
just go out and say, hey, going to the spaza shop there to buy something. No, no, no. But then
mm,
we get the freedom, we come here. And then we become adults as well. Then everybody start to make decisions on their own. But the life here was, I think, the guys did their best, especially because maybe Boy was loaned just after the second year, I think, when we were here,
mm,
and then he played
mm.
for the second division team. And then from there, with Boy, everything just went
South,
down.
yeah.
No,
Mm,
and like I say, I'm not here to
mm,
tell somebody's story, especially if the guy.
mm. Yeah,
I'm
but there's something I want you to tell me, to give me your honest opinion.
yes,
2009 Confed Cup.
yes.
What happened when your name was not there?
Look, and I'm not the type to give excuses. I
Mm,
I was playing probably one of my best footballs in Belgium at that time.
mm,
Uh, we we were in an era at that time where the coaches were changed when Santa
mm,
came in for Pereira,
mm, mm,
and I was picked mostly by the coach at that time.
mm, mm,
So remember, Peter was also there at that time. I remember, and
mm,
and but the national team was going through a difficult time, actually winning games.
mm,
But we're talking about when the national team that time, not the national team we have now. We were a squad with people I saw on TV when I was young, talking about Ryan and Benny also at that certain point as well. Uh,
Kagiso
like
Tekasho.
Kagiso, but Kagiso was more like my age. But I'm talking about my Beth Sibaya,
Macbeth Sibaya,
you
yeah.
know, you were with Rowan as well, the goalkeepers, it was more like, felt like this was more like a matured team, and even was playing at that position. Well, I don't think we got enough, especially I can only speak for myself. I didn't get enough chance. I've been to more national team call-ups than most of the guys, but I probably played 4 times. So that shows you how difficult it was at that time to get a chance. And when I said I played 4 times, I didn't even start one game
You were coming off the bench most of the, in fact,
most
all
of the
the
time.
games.
Yeah, for me, I'm not one person to give excuses. And I understood because at that time when the coach is going through a pressure, who am I, the guy who plays at Belgium, and the people when the types of Kuboni and the other ones play week in week out, people are the first one to say, "Hey, Kuboni play or Dikasha should play because we see them week in week out." But but then from there, the rest, then you leave it to the coach. Remember, I'm a coach now. I understand him. Maybe I was not Santana's taste at that certain point. Maybe felt the pressure from other people to call me as well. But then comes there and gives me a taste of, a candy and say, yeah, just have a feel and you'll see what you will do. But
Yeah,
I was disappointed, but it's like you saw it coming.
yeah.
Like if you've never played so many games at that time, you were more appreciated because you were playing in your team in Europe, and then but never actually had enough chance to actually get the opportunity to show my talent, actually at that level.
I once heard that there was a time whereby most players were no longer interested to play for the national team when they were coming from overseas, but all they wanted to do was to come see their families because they knew that they were not going to play. Was it the same for you?
No, no. I've always been one person who's very. I never see the glass half empty. I see it half full. And when a situation, no matter what happens yesterday or 2 months ago, if I didn't play, I've never came in a situation saying I know I'm not going to play. I'm just going to see my family and that's it. No, no, no. This remember we're talking about the dream here. Like I'm only for myself. This is a dream. Representing your country is one of the highest achievements you can ever think of. I don't know how other guys take it this way. Maybe because the last 5-7 years, caps just fly in the air. You can get any cap nowadays. Then they lose that sense of appreciation of what the national team really means for other people. But that time when you're in the national team and you look at your people around you, you feel like you've achieved. That's why you've never heard me complain in the newspapers. Never. Why?
But
I'm living it like I know guys from my area who are very proud of me being in the national team.
a base three.
Yeah, so you in a situation where like that's one thing. Maybe that's one thing that makes me who I am. Like I look at my situation and I know where I come from. I know, when being in the school of excellence, you have 80 kids who first go to the school with hope of being professional. And end of their school year, how many kids gets disappointed of not getting the opportunities to be where they thought they will be when they started their first day. Some I still have communication with most of the guys from the School of Excellence, and I try by all means to show them, especially those who had the opportunity to pick themselves up from not making the school to making it, whether you're working at a bank or you're working at, these guys look at us who have made it from the school and feel like, wow, we are proud of you. No, but I feel like if there's anything harder in life, is for you to go to university and study law, whether 4 years, 5 years, and come out of there and never get a job. That's the hardest thing in life. It's more mental than anything else. And that's why I say I look at my life and I'm very fortunate. And I would never complain about anything that ever happened in my life in the past. Or I look at my life and say, wow, because I know probably more than 200 people who would say, brother, you're lucky.
Including me, I'm saying you're lucky.
No,
But
but
tell me,
yeah,
I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
that's why for me personally, I don't have as much money as Mpampe and whoever these guys playing there, but I know I'm in a place where I can also provide for my family and be comfortable as well, So you the social media this now age is just a death of us all, death of any. I feel for the young players coming in or any other person in life who actually puts their life more on thinking about proving people wrong, or that's the sad part mostly about us as a society in South Africa, because we build players and we break them at the same time. I know some people like Robert Marawa, they try to help these guys who have always being football players, and funny enough they lose everything, but most people don't understand the dimension that goes through this. But I say also we owe it to the young boys. We owe it to the players as well, to at this, when things go well, these players feel like they can start foundations, and they can we and people in your area can appreciate you more. Life doesn't work that way, especially with the money that you have. These people, they are corporates who actually have to found the foundation for you, not to use your own money to found your own foundation. Because with what you have, in 10 years' time, the same people that you're trying to help at home to say, I'm starting a foundation, they're the first one to actually laugh at you. To say to you, I am Kumbul, used to come
Eish.
here, used to come here, but they forgot. They forgot you used to feed them during Corona. You used to feed. But that's why I say, I can only, I know people who have been in the positions where things were going well and they thought they can start when you start foundations and all those kind of things, think carefully. Don't use your own money. Try to get sponsorships and everywhere where you can. Remember, guys, they earn, probably if they earn 80 or 90, they stay in a house that has to be paid. Their kids go to schools that they pay probably 30,000 a month or 15,000, whatever. But then if you look at the dimension of their financial status, you look at yourself, you say, I don't think they can make it. They retire. Then 2 years down the line, same person, you say, but hey, lo muntu bekanefundation, madoda.
Eish. And people think a foundation ingenisa imali.
No, but it doesn't. You taking it more out of your pocket, and the people around you are there to say, "Hey, but people are starving there. You can do that." No, people have to actually. We have to actually think more about ourselves, being stable first, and being stable meaning then you can actually help the community. Community. Then that's why I say I don't understand why we as South African we don't use sponsorship as much as Europeans during the 2010, and I look at rugby players and I look at they get more sponsorship deals than more than soccer players. I'm myself, but what are we doing wrong at this period? Why? I think personally, if you look at them 2010, Teko, Kune, Steven Pinar, they should be then all over the place. Brands like Coca-Cola, brands like Kellogg's. Don't tell me about brands that actually, I'm not going to name names, that are actually funded just now. They want to use you. You can never have a lifetime sponsorship with those brands. But that's why you look at, if you go to Senegal now, you go to Egypt, the first thing you get in the airport, probably you see Sadio Mane,
Mane,
all of
you see Mo Salah.
yeah. But we get
Mm.
sponsored by other brands, but then they say, okay, we're only going to give you 10,000 when you go for a national team. Oh, we only going to give you 70,000 in a year.
Mm.
On man, this guy is also a brand at the same time. Why are we working in towards like that's why we still they can earn as much as they want, but we still going to go broke because we don't use those advertisement as something that can actually help us. Yes.
I want to ask you about agents before we close. I want to ask you about agents. What was the role of your agent throughout your career as a footballer?
You want me to be honest?
Yes, that's why we're here.
Nothing.
So your agent did absolutely nothing for you.
I mean, we went to the tournament with the school. They came after the guys saw me
Mm.
and they said we can help you. I mean, and then the rest of my career, they managed me 6 years. The rest of my career, I did it myself. But
So
why?
basically the guy that was benefiting through your talent for 6 years today is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but I mean,
Never helped you after you retired at all.
but I've made the decision then. Remember, we went there were three of us. You know, when we go there, we're three of us. Now, I might not have my matric, but I'm probably one of the smartest as well because I try to be aware of my situation where I am. But I remember when Boy after his contract things went left. Remember, these people sat with us on the table, and then people sit with you on the table, say, "We'll take care of you. Look at us like your father." You know, we look you in the eyes at that time. You will take care of us. Meaning, when you take care of somebody who's 17, 18 years old, and you tell them those things, in my eyes, I'm saying whether things go left or right, you're going to take care of me. You're going to help me get back. You know, but that's the downfall of us. I know other players that are close to me will tell you the same thing. But I know these things won't go on forever. Things were going to change. We have kids. We have kids who play football. This generation of agents will pass. You know why I'm saying this? You look at the highest players, they are managed by their wives, they are managed by their family. That will say that says to you,
Even coach Pito is managed by his wife.
but that says a lot to you because my son is also playing. Tsepo's son will play. Eventually, all these ones, they're all ex-soccer players. They all say, no, I will do it myself. Not those guys. You know, that's a very important thing. You know, that's a very important thing for guys. I'm not taking it away. Maybe they negotiated a contract for us. Yes, that's basically what they did. But the rest, football is just like that. Everything depends on you. You play well, you get offers. You don't play, you're more on the bench. Your agent will not bring anything. They will say to you, "We'll call you. I think I have something for you." A year will pass by, but they're looking for a fresh meat. That's how it is.
You are a coach now.
Yes.
Briefly, how big is Hugo Bruce in Belgium? Because here in South Africa is causing havoc.
Yeah. Havoc. What do you mean?
He's causing havoc. He's not leaning towards the popular opinion, not calling the popular players, not calling up for the national team the so-called best players currently. He's just picking his own players that are not even playing for the big teams. How big is he in Belgium?
I think he's big. He's big enough, like
Mm.
any other coach in Belgium. I mean,
So
any other coach. What I mean.
he's not recognized as a plumber because here in South Africa, when he first started, he was called a plumber.
But I understand. I understand. That's what that frustrates me about our people. I understand. I will also say the same because they've brought more plumbers probably in South Africa than any other country. You know, I know other coaches who came there who barely coach a team at the highest level this side. But that's why it's I have to be careful what I say because I know I'm sometimes too honest when I say things.
But you need to
But
be too honest.
yeah, but I want you to explain me one thing.
Mm.
Why do South Africans have to coach and then the other one who comes from Europe can just come in and push the other two on the side, and then that title changes to assistant.
Mm.
But my question is then, why at Pirates they don't pick someone as a coach? That's why.
First
But
time in history we have co-assistant coaches.
but we
There's
creating
no
it.
head coach.
But we creating it ourselves. I love Rulani. I love the coaches at Sundowns, but we creating it ourselves. It will
Mm.
continue. They will degrade us. They will think we're not good enough to hold the team alone, because then
Mm.
the Pirates people see it the same way. But I personally think the same coaches, the guy was coaching Golden Arrows. They did well. You
Mm.
think he can coach Pirates? Then why bring him? Why bring him?
Why bring him?
Coach. But I have assistant coach. Assistant coach is somebody I feel like if I'm sick tomorrow, I can say I stay home and he can coach the team.
Mm.
So
Mm.
if he coach the team goes well. It's the same thing with Atazwani. The
Mm.
team was not doing well when Gavin Hunt was there,
Mm.
and Atazwani got the
So,
opportunity and they did well,
mm.
but they still went to sign somebody else.
Mm.
But I say to myself, I say, okay, but why are we also not, especially because the owners are black?
Mm.
My
Why
friend,
why why are not giving black brothers opportunities?
come to Europe. If you want to feel it, come to Europe.
Mm.
Ask me. Ask me.
Mm.
Come to Europe, you will see how coming in from outside is difficult. How coming in from
Mm.
outside. But for us, people come from outside in very easy. And I tell you,
There's a team. There's a team that hired somebody from Germany who has never coached anywhere in the world,
but
but he
because
got an opportunity to coach a PSL team.
all they have to represent is I have UEFA A. I have a pro license.
Mm.
Pizzo has beaten more people with UEFA A and pro license in Africa than
Mm.
any other coach I know, because I do my
Mm.
research. But
Mm.
I think Pizzo at that time they didn't have it. But where does it, or does this lie on the certificate? Just because you have driver's license, it means you can drive. Some of us,
Mm.
some of these people buy it as well. You know, some of them.
Mm.
But
Mm.
remember,
Mm.
this thing is only theoretical. You only do with theory, but
Mm.
you have to be practical.
Mm.
Practical means you have to win things to actually convince me that you are a good coach, to actually come coach Chiefs and Pirates as well.
Mm.
Not because you're from
Mm.
Europe, then it means that you
Mm.
can. I'm here in Europe. I should be the first one defending the guys and say, yeah, but here in Europe you have UEFA A, you're top. No, I know
Mm.
coaches UEFA A, but cannot actually put up a team together.
Last two questions.
Yes.
When are you coming back to coach in South Africa?
You know,
Because I read somewhere where they said they likened you to Pep Guardiola. So I want to know, when are you coming back to coach in South Africa?
you said I didn't hear because it went down a little bit. You said they
I
likened.
read I read somewhere where they likened you to Pep Guardiola. When
You know, when you're from the School of Excellence, I like more the ball. I'm more, I would say, more tactical,
mm,
and that's why I think we spoke yesterday also a little bit about the South
mm,
African football where it is at the moment. And I
mm,
feel like I've never been I've never been wowed in Belgium or in Europe about talent,
mm,
because I've seen so many talent in South Africa where I feel like, why should I be wowed by what I've seen before, or
mm,
even better, you know?
mm,
So
mm,
I think I don't know if I would actually come to South Africa as a coach, but I would love to. But I feel like the
mm,
most important thing, because I know there are young coaches, you know,
mm,
young coaches who are hungry. I can speak of Calvin Sosibo. We have convinced Biza
mm.
Ebula. We speak of this other young boy Joe as well, who is hungry. and there's other one coach.
Sinesipho Mali,
You know,
Rulani Mokwena.
and we have Rulani as well, and then we have
Mm.
other. I think Rulan, Litsolenyani's brother as well. I think he's.
Oh yeah, Chiefs Development under
I think
17s.
I hear a little bit about
Mm.
him as well because I
Mm.
saw some video of the players playing, his players playing. I thought, wow, impressive.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
for me coming back, I would like to see Safa do more for us.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, for us meaning you look at the German association,
Mm.
they the coaches are flourishing. Why?
Mm. Mm.
Why? It's
Mm.
because they're investing so much in their country as well. Go check how it's difficult to get a UEFA A or something in Germany. Just do your research and you will see. And
Mm.
then you come to us, but they belittling our CAF and and
Mm.
and
Mm.
see. But why can't? That's my opinion. Why can't Safa just take 10 coaches, 15 coaches, let them go do
Mm.
UEFA and be
Mm.
instructors and go get the instructing whatever courses and come give it at home and
Mm.
change the CAF to UEFA. So is
Mm.
other countries like Bulgaria. So is other countries.
Mm.
But then, but you can't take it from Europe and bring it and say 70,000 a course. Come on.
No, no, that is not feasible economically. I don't think that it would be fair for African coaches to pay 70,000 rand for a course.
Yeah, but that's
So
why.
mm,
Why do we have to always conform then? Why do we
mm,
always go the route Europe? I'm
mm,
in Europe, but I know there's certain things you can take,
mm,
and bring it back at home. And I
mm,
feel like the most thing that we need is more tactical. If most teams,
mm,
what we spoke about, as it, that's probably the first time I watched Sundowns. I think when they played at Pirates, I said, "Wow,
mm, mm,
wow." I said I saw South Africa play Ethiopia
mm.
when they played away. I didn't
Yeah.
see structure. Remember that structure was created by South African coaches.
Mm, mm, mm.
The structure that I've seen at Sundowns when they played Pirates, I was wowed. I was said,
And
wow.
you felt that the Paris team was playing like high school kids.
Yes, I felt,
It was difficult for them to
but
break that Sundowns play.
but and now I'm gonna speak as a coach. When everybody in your
Mm,
team knows their role, when the ball is
mm,
at the all right, when everybody in your team knows their roles, football
mm,
becomes simple. And if the other team doesn't know their roles, they
mm,
it's to the other team. So it's very simple. It's
mm,
simple said, but I know the hard work the coaches are doing at Sundowns to get everybody like
mm,
in mind to actually move together. To actually
mm,
it's consistent work. It's consistent of drilling on those things in their boys, whether it's with monitors or it's whether on the field or but it's of studying other teams maybe in Europe. I know for sure. I've listened to Coach Rulani speak. I've listened to other coaches, but I know for sure they do their research and they invest so much
mm,
in themselves to actually making that team become what it is now. You
mm,
don't just wake up and say this. I'm doing the same with my team. When you say people liking you with Pep, they
mm,
liking Pep because of probably what they see on the field. I'm the
mm,
team as much as Rulani, Steve Compella, Peter, any other coaches, but
mm,
everything you cannot in football. You cannot cheat football.
mm.
Maybe you
No,
can.
you cannot even take shortcuts in football.
Oh, but that's why I say if our country, if South
Mm,
Africa wants to get far
mm,
tactically, because talent we have.
mm,
Talent we have that we don't even, but we have to get our coaches to actually get the tactical because we used to play European teams. The people just run just 5 meters there, and we
mm,
run all over the place, and then they
mm,
win us 3-0. When we have the
mm,
ball, we're exciting, but we are all over the place. But now, like
mm,
I said, when I watch Sundowns, I'm like, wow, this
mm,
is another level. I've never seen that much of structure in South Africa in a long time. You
mm. Masilo Modubi, best 11.
You know
Your
what?
best 11 players
What?
that you've played with, players that you've played with in the national team, under 23s. Your best 11.
But you want to get me killed?
Who's gonna kill you?
Ah,
Don't worry, don't worry about Tomo Lekwane. He can be on the bench, is fine. But I just want your
but
best 11.
for me, you can't tell me about the best 11 I played with. If I have to go back, do you know the School of Excellence? But
I only read about them in papers.
my brother, if you think you've seen football, né? You've
Mm,
never seen football. What we see now with Manchester, with Barcelona, this have been
mm,
done before at the School of Excellence, my brother. That's why I say I'm not so much amazed in a lot of things that I've seen in Europe
mm,
or the football, or but that's why I say get the right people at the right place in South Africa.
mm.
I tell you, we will conquer everyone.
So you spoke well about Sembata, Coach Sembata, and
Yes.
when I look at Sundown's development and listen to what you are saying, I can now confidently say that what happened at School of Excellence in your era, it's exactly what is happening at Sundown's development. Hence, we see the likes of Pesitao coming through. Hence, we see a lot of young players coming through today, dominating the junior national teams. Sundowns is leading the log in the DSTV Premiership. They're leading the log in the DSTV DDC. They're leading the log in women's football as the same people working in all those structures, trying to bring one type of football, a certain structure for a football club. So for me, I clearly understand what you're talking about.
There's no shortcut in this thing. There's no shortcut. Those people have lived the football. Coach Sam,
Mm,
that's why Pito Tuku, Calvin Johnson, and
mm,
there's still Manda Mazibuko, who's also there at
mm,
Sun. I think. I tell you,
mm,
if we get the right people at the right
mm,
place, because
mm,
talent is whether you speak about on the field, outside the field,
mm,
but these bosses have to start appreciating us. Don't give us 3 games and fire us.
mm.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Give us as much time as you give those ones coming in. What do you call them? Plumbers and whatever. Give us much,
Plumbers.
yeah, give us as much
Mm,
time as them. I
mm,
swear, sooner or later. Remember, Pizzo was also Athazwani before.
mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm,
Asmadi
mm,
was also before uh,
mm,
Helen Shepherd before.
mm, mm,
Rulani was also before somebody else at the junior levels. But
mm,
we don't give those boys a chance. If we don't give our people a chance, like the coaches who are at Pirates now, I don't know. That's why I
mm,
say my question is on us now as coaches, of
mm,
on them, of those coaches in those positions. What do we
mm,
do? We have to change the stigma. We have to change how these people view us and start
mm,
believing in us. But if we keep on coaching every time, they will
mm,
go coach in Black Leopards. They will go coach in it will be us. We'll become
mm,
those people. You understand?
mm,
I always
mm,
say, as a coach, you create your own thing. If you want to become the best coach, you don't just go. You can recreate the team as golden arrows,
mm,
but if you become a coach that goes and saves teams from the bottom, then you become a
mm,
savior.
mm,
That means
mm,
then you become a savior. That means Chiefs of Pirates will never call you,
mm,
but Black Leopards and Golden Arrows will call you when they're number 16, 15.
mm,
But you create your own thing, your own CV, meaning if you did well at Sundowns, wait for your own
mm.
opportunity to be right. But if you always jump in everything because you want to pay bills, it only go like this.
When you are a championship winning coach, you will attract championship winning teams.
Yes,
When you are a relegation saving coach, you will always attract teams in the relegation zone.
that's why. Oh, you have to wait your time. Wait your
Mm,
time. That's why I say, if you have a team, if you're coaching a team, and somehow during the season is going down, okay, you've got nothing to do at that time. If they fire you, but the question is for the other coach coming in. The question is for the other coach coming in. Do you want to start the stigma becoming a savior? Remember, coaches that we know, that if a team is about to be relegated, we have to call them. You know, Sam Allardyce is
I'm not
known
gonna
for that.
mention names, but I know them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also in Sam Allardyce, also here in Belgium is the same. You know, we know them. We know, okay, fun, okay, no worry, he's coming, the other one. But you have to also be honest with yourself. That's why this one thing, there's something I say to myself. I think it will be difficult for me to pick a team during the season, to go coach a team during the season, because it's like now you're given difficult ingredients to produce pizza with. That is not enough. You know, then you have to create your own magic to try create pizza. You know, so
No, I don't want to hold you too long. But for now, let me thank you and thank you again for giving me your time. Your 1 hour 16-20 minutes. But you know the conversations between you and I, they
doesn't
never
end.
stop. We always yeah.
It doesn't end.
Conversation doesn't end, and we'll always talk about the game. And we still need to talk about scouting, but we'll talk about scouting next time, because I want us to look at the scouting networks, how it works. How do these teams in Belgium get it right? Because Belgium today, they're different to what they were 10 years ago, and we are going to tell us and give us this perspective as well. But for now, I wanted to celebrate Masilo Modubi, a boy from the humble beginnings, from Epolokwane, a Petersburg, a base 3 to the world.
Oh, where?
Out of the 3 that went to Chelsea, you are still you are the one remaining. And for me, that's the most beautiful story that any young boy watching this interview today can learn. I appreciate you, and your name shall be known for as long as you live, Masilo Modubi. We are proud of you, and we are proud of your mother for holding your hand. Thank
But
you.
can I say just one thing? One thing.
One thing.
You said something. You're proud of me for being the one that is still. I think there's something. I'm just gonna say this just for the last time. They call me a survivor. You know, we didn't leave home to go to Belgium for war. No, I think you are surviving where you are. You've lost everybody, but nobody calls you a survivor. For me, it pains me when people call me a survivor. I didn't survive anything. I'm living my life. You know,
Living your dream.
yes, like I'm living my dream, but so do people lose family members and so, but they don't call them survivors. I left with the guys. I know the guys for almost 10 years, you know, and it pains me when people feel like we left home to go. And funny enough, these people never died. They didn't die here in Belgium. They
In
died,
Belgium.
you know. Now I'm here.
But can I tell you why? Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Yeah,
That's because when the three of you were in Belgium, there were a lot of hopes. When you guys were always called up by Coach Steve Compella for the under 23s and also for the senior national teams. I think it was during Coach Stewart, if I'm not mistaken. When you
yeah,
guys were always called for the national teams, people were following your progress.
sure.
People were always watching. There's Masilo, there's Boy, there's Jeffrey, there's Ninja Mfukeng in Holland, there's Richard Ranchi at Supersport United, there's Dan Clayton at Supersport United, there's Sinki Mohlachwa. So when people followed your career. So when the 2 guys came back, people wanted to know why Masilo remained.
Yeah, but that's why I say,
That is why your story will always be
yeah, I
that of his.
understand the point, but I'm saying they call me a survivor. You know, like if people call me the survivor when the guys are still alive, it sounds even better. But now it doesn't sound. It's like we went to war
Mm,
and I am the only one who came back. No,
mm,
we didn't go to war. We went there for our dreams. And the guy, that's why I said they didn't die in Belgium. They died at
mm,
home. And
mm,
they actually played for other teams also at home at that time, you know. So
mm,
for me,
mm,
it pains me a little bit because I feel like I hear this a lot, you know. I
mm,
hear this a lot,
mm,
and I feel like people should say, oh, you are the lucky one. I'm not the lucky one.
mm,
And I can die tomorrow. Anybody can die tomorrow, but I'm not a survivor. You survived corona probably, you know. We
mm.
surviving every day, but for me it feels like I'm already survived a lot of things, you know. No, we just live.
You survived racism.
Oh, but I'm just like, but it's personal to me because I've heard it a lot. You survived, you survived, you survived. No,
Yeah.
I'm still surviving, just like you.
It's 20. Coach, good night. And thank you for your time once again.
Dab, my brother. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Dab, dab.
That's it with Coach Masilo Modubi, South African international, currently coaching in Belgium. Thank you so much for watching. Uh, Thank you so much for spending this hour with us. Have a good evening. Bye.